So in the aftermath of Zeus and his agency taking action against T1 for their statements against them, T1 has finally responded. To be honest with you, I was not planning to make a video about this. I thought I had said my piece, everything that needed to be said, and that was that. And then I read T1's response, and I genuinely got angry. What they're saying and what they're claiming is just ridiculous. So let's get into it. Essentially, what this article states is that Joe Marsh was not talking about the play and T1 and Zeus's agency themselves, but about agents in general. And CEO Joe Marsh's past remarks were merely an opinion. T1 clarified that CEO Joe Marsh's statement, their approach disregarded the team's history, player development, and long-term career planning was not intended as negative criticism, but rather as a simple evaluation. Additionally, Joe Marsh stated that he was concerned about a recurring pattern in the industry where financial factors are prioritized over players' positive futures. T1 argued that the play misinterpreted Joe Marsh's remarks, explaining the comments weren't directly specifically at the play, rather they expressed concern about industry practices prioritizing money over respect for existing teams. T1 emphasized Joe Marsh never said they only think about financial gain. He simply used past examples involving agencies like the play to highlight industry-wide concerns, which constitutes an opinion. I want to get into some of Joe Marsh's quotes from his AMA and all the things that he's said that makes this article seem so silly, but let's finish the whole article first. T1 explained, considering Zeus' contribution, dedication, and young age, we wanted to resolve the situation quickly and quietly, but the unusual free agency process and the announcement of Zeus' transfer without additional comment triggered global fan criticism and suspicion against the player. T1 added, as his former team that deeply cares about the player, we felt it necessary to address questions raised during the AMA to protect Zeus from further criticism. Yeah. You guys really protected Zeus. T1 further argued, in contrast, after the AMA, the play issued an additional statement to protect their own interests and demanded corrections, despite Joe Marsh's comments being neither false nor warranting correction. T1 continued, this issue does not require a corrective statement. The play's demands risk hurting Zeus and can unnecessarily amplify suspicions. So T1 are saying Joe Marsh did nothing wrong and his statements do not require a correction. So let's go into some of those statements. Joe Marsh saying, T1, that is not true. In response to T1 being able to match any offer for Zeus. We were never given the opportunity to match any offer. Additionally, the agent did not present any counteroffers to the proposals we met. We now know that this is just a lie, as Zeus' agency has provided all of the logs between them and T1, and it was a back and forth negotiation spanning 10 different offers. It would not be appropriate for me to disclose the specific details of Zeus' offer from T1. What I can share is that we aim to give each of our players the top salary in their respective position. With this goal as our foundation, we negotiated with all the players' agents, including Zeus's. Throughout the process, however, Zeus's agent did not provide us with a single counterproposal. We know that the last part is a lie, and we also know that Zeus was offered a lower salary after winning Worlds back to back. The play clearly stated, first, the initial proposal provided by your side involved a reduction, and secondly, the team's PR articles and interviews approached the player with more persuasion and pressure rather than genuine consideration. So after Zeus won Worlds back to back, best top laner in the world, T1 tried to offer him a lower salary than what he had in the first place, and then they're saying that there were no counter proposals when there were plenty. And we can keep reading on Joe Marsh's AMA, because this is an AMA that just keeps on giving. Yet again, there was no counter proposal or clear communication from the agent. Nonetheless, in keeping with the aforementioned aim, we were willing to match any offer for Zeus. We also know this is not true. If the agent had communicated his client's specific desires from the beginning, this process could have been much smoother. So unless you believe that you watched my latest video on Zeus, that all of the agency's claims were a lie and all of their logs were a lie of T1 and their negotiation process, then Joe Marsh is just lying. I don't understand how T1 can come out and say that this does not require a corrective stance and that this was not about Zeus and his agency, because there was also a statement in this T1 statement that claimed that it was not, Joe Marsh did not make a comment about Zeus' agency in particular. It was just about agencies in general prioritizing financial gain. But let's look at that exact comment that Joe Marsh made regarding the agency's want of financial priority. The biggest factor in losing Zeus, in my view, was the influence of his agent and their agency. This particular group has a history of prioritizing financial gain over a broader perspective of what's truly best for the player. This particular group? Doesn't that imply the play? I don't know what other group, agents in general? I think it definitely, to me, that sounds like you're talking about that specific agency and not just the industry in general. This pattern of prioritizing financial incentives over what's best for the player's overall future is concerning. While we respect Zeus's decision, it's unfortunate that the influence of an agency played such a significant role in the outcome. If given the chance, we would have matched any offer for Zeus, even if it was just for a one-year deal. We were told he wanted long-term security and we were ready to work to make that happen. However, we were not given the opportunity to match any offers presented to him. So for me, all of this is just kind of sad and disappointing, to be honest. I'm on the Zeus's agency side due to the fact that they provided logs, they went to a journalist, and they seem to really want to try to clear up their name. Well, I feel like T1 is just kind of throwing shit at the fan and not really caring. And I also want to bring up a little tweet from Joe Marsh here that I just thought was crazy. I just think this is absolutely crazy. The liar's worst enemy is someone with a good memory, and it spells out HLE. Come on, guys. You're a CEO and you're subtweeting with a lion and it's like, she believed he lied type of vibe. Come on. It's just so unserious. It's so unprofessional. And I can't believe that T1 didn't release a better statement than this regarding the whole situation. You can't just claim when your CEO makes all of these statements that are so clearly about Zeus and a specific agent that it wasn't a critique, it was merely an opinion, and that it didn't apply to his agency. If this was a random person saying these things, it would be no big deal. But when you are the CEO of T1, your words hold weight, so you need to tread with that accountability and responsibility in mind. And I don't think Joe Marsh did that at all. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Overall, really disappointing, really weird situation in general. Lost a lot of respect for T1. I wouldn't call myself a T1 fan, but this Worlds and last Worlds, I was cheering for them and I wanted to see them succeed. I love their story. I love Faker, love Guma UC, love Carrier. I love all their players and it's been really nice to watch them play, but this last year for them has been really, really rough. And I can't say that I'm a fan of how they're handling any of this situation, but let me know what you guys think. I'm curious to hear. Overall, it's a sad situation, and yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.